Hi everybody, it's Friday morning, January 30th, and I'm offering my legislative update from the West Virginia State Senate. My name's Ryan Ferns, and my goal was to get into the studio last night on Thursday evening, but we actually had a unplanned government organization meeting where we came back in at 5 o'clock last night, and so I wasn't able to get in here in front of the camera. But so I'll be offering today the updates from Wednesday and Thursday. So starting with Wednesday, January 28th, we had our 7:30 a.m. Chairman's Caucus in order to plan for our upcoming committee meetings. And then following that caucus, had several meetings with healthcare organizations and representatives, lobbyists, and had a meeting with Father Brian O'Donnell from the Wheeling Charleston Catholic Diocese. And he was kind of going over the Our Children, Our Future agenda that the church is very supportive of, and the initiatives on there. So appreciate Father O'Donnell coming by and talking with me. We had our floor session at 11 o'clock. And one thing I wanted to point out that was introduced yesterday during our floor session, or on Wednesday rather, is Senate Concurrent Resolution 13, which is urging Congress to propose a balanced budget amendment. This is a concurrent resolution that I introduced. I've actually been in conversations with Governor Kasich from the state of Ohio, and as many of you probably know, Governor Kasich was considered one of the budget hawks during his time in Congress, and when he took over as governor of Ohio, Ohio had an $8 billion budget deficit at that time, and they were able to balance their budget in the first year. So I think it's important for us to reach out to him. He's very willing to assist us in any way he can with our current budget crisis. So look forward to talking more with him in the coming future. I think he's going to be planning a trip here to West Virginia as well. So we also had Senate Bill 8, which was the DOH Performance and Efficiency Audit, which we've actually had some of the folks on our Facebook page ask about prior to the start of session and leading into the beginning of session. And so that was something that we passed out and voted in favor of yesterday, or on Wednesday. Following the floor session, I had a meeting with the Associated Builders and Contractors and their representative and some of their members from around the state, urging consideration of repeal of prevailing wage and right to work. And they were just expressing their thoughts and how it affects their industry on those particular issues. And then that afternoon we had the Judiciary Committee meeting where we had about a dozen rules bills, and then one bill that I was particularly interested in and that raised some debate was Senate Bill 249, which eliminates the straight ticket voting option from the ballot. We're one of 11 states currently that still has an option where you press one button and vote for everyone in one party. That was actually a bill that I had introduced in the House a few years back and was not able to get passed, but it is something that we took up in our Judiciary Committee meeting yesterday. It did pass out. It kind of brings us in line with the rest of the nation, and it just encourages people to take a look at each office that they're voting for and make a decision rather than pressing one button without reviewing the different offices. I know we've had people on both sides of that issue. Most of the people that I've spoken to are in support of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that makes some progress. Then we had Senate Bill 10, which we've talked about on here, is requiring nonpartisan election of judges and magistrates. We actually didn't get to that yesterday on the agenda. And then Wednesday evening, I had a meeting with the chairman of the House Health Committee about the APRN scope of practice issue, and we are currently working on drafting a piece of legislation in order to find a compromise on expanding the scope of practice for APRN. So that'll be coming forward here very shortly. And then on Thursday, January 29th, again, 7:30 a.m. Chairman Caucus. And then following that caucus, I met with Dominic Cerrone and Chad Miller of Cerrone Associates in Wheeling. Many of you know Dominic. They came down to talk to me about Senate Bill 234, which is, as they described it, as the PSC oversight of public utilities of small towns, which can be overly burdensome when they're doing projects. It's not shown that that oversight adds any benefit as far as keeping rates down. If you look at our neighboring state of Ohio, they don't have that sort of regulation. Their rates for water and sewer are actually lower than ours. So Dominic and Chad were just offering their professional expertise on that issue. And actually later on that morning, we spoke with the chairman of the Government Organization Committee about considering that bill because it is in that committee. So I think he's considering taking that up. I then had a meeting with the Ohio Valley Employers Construction Council about their concerns with repealing prevailing wage. As I mentioned the day before, had Associated Builders and Contractors. These folks are on the other side of it. They're actually supportive of keeping prevailing wage in place, although I think they do recognize there need to be some changes to the way it's calculated. They offer an alternative plan as opposed to repealing it, and so I'm taking a look at that and taking that in consideration. I appreciate them coming by. A lot of Wheeling folks and folks from up and down the Ohio Valley were present in that meeting, so I appreciate you all taking the time to travel down and share your insight with me. Following that, we had Judiciary Committee meeting, had a number of bills: Senate Bill 308, 318, 284, 312, 322, and 326. And you can take a look at those. If there's anybody that wants me to elaborate on them, I'm happy to. There wasn't an unusual amount of debate or excessive amount of debate on any of those issues, so I'll go ahead and keep on moving. We had our 11 o'clock floor session, didn't have any bills on third reading, no votes. And then Thursday afternoon, we had our Health Committee meeting at 1 o'clock, and we took up Senate Bill 60, which was had to do with food handler permits, creating a little bit of leeway in order so that if you get a food handler permit in one county in our state, that it will actually carry over and allow you to use that permit in other counties. Sometimes in areas of our state, we have folks who operate in multiple counties for different reasons, and we're just saying that we think that each county is capable of implementing sufficient guidelines that it should be safe to carry over into other counties. We also had Senate Bill 66, Senate Bill 88, Senate Bill 267, which was repealing code relating to the Governor's Office of Health Enhancement and Lifestyle Planning, also known as Go Help. It was something I served on, had been appointed to by Governor Manchin a few years back, but it is no longer active, and so we're taking it out of code. Following that, we had our Government Organization Committee meeting. We had Senate Bill 323, which was expanding home rule. We had Senate Bill 334, which was a bill that I had introduced related to telemedicine, and Senate Bill 255 and 294. And following that meeting, I had a brief meeting with Dr. Gupta, who's our state health officer, with ongoing discussions and about the immunization bill that there's been a lot of discussion about in the media, and that I've talked about here on our video updates as well. We're continuing to take input, make changes to that bill in order to find a good compromise that everybody feels will benefit our state. Then we had another Judiciary Committee meeting where we continued to take up the rest of the bills that we didn't get to that morning. So actually, we were called back in Thursday evening for a second Government Organization Committee meeting, again to finish up the bills that we didn't get to in the morning, and was actually the reason I wasn't able to get in here last night for the video update. But that wraps up my update. We have a floor session this morning here at 11 o'clock. I have a couple of meetings prior to that. And I'll be back here on Monday to give you another video update. So thanks for watching. Please continue to give us comments on the Facebook page, anything you'd like me to elaborate on. Have a great weekend.